So today let me share a couple of tips for moms because very often I get a lot of questions from moms on parenting. The first tip for mothers is remember that you can always discipline your children without violence and without abuse. So first you must understand that children do need disciplining, they do need a structure. Growing brains require structure, they require routines, and they require consistency. And all of this can be achieved without being violent, without being abusive, physically or emotionally. So remember that parenting and very good and effective parenting can happen without the use of threatening, punishments, or physical violence. The second tip to moms I would definitely like to say is that please get a life beyond just motherhood. If you have done your graduation, if you have a degree, then please go out there and work and contribute to the nation, because otherwise you are going to use all your energies and intelligence in bringing up this child, and the child becomes your career or your project. This is not healthy for the child, simply because children do need their own space to grow. You need to be like the gardener who does provide for the right soil, water, and environment for the plants, but who does not stand in front of that bud which is waiting to become a flower 24/7 and keep trying to fix it or correct it. Otherwise that bud is never going to become a flower. The gardener is going to do what it needs to do, but also focus on other things around the garden. So similarly, as a mother, please do not make parenting, motherhood, or your child as your only project and your only life purpose and your full-time career. Remember, you can be a good parent by doing certain things, keeping a few things in mind, and by letting go of the rest. Which brings me to the third point, that it is not it will never be that you will always get all the things right as far as parenting is concerned. Even you may be a PhD in parenting, but in spite and despite of that, in real life you will never be able to check off all the boxes when it comes to positive parenting. So there will always be moments when some things will work, some things will not work. You may never always get it right, and you should be okay to live with it, because like I said, parenting is not a project that you need to complete to perfection, but it is a journey, and the journey keeps changing with every stage of the child's development. So do not take parenting as your full-time job. Enjoy it, spend time with your child. Do not make it like your pet project. Also, in order to enjoy your parenting journey, and in order to make sure that you are not over caring, overdoing, over expecting, you also need to focus on your own self-care. Mother's own mental well-being has a huge impact on the physical and psychological development of children. So as a mother, it is very important to be selfish and to take care of yourself. If you are doing a job full-time, part-time, flexi-time, then please do it, but also make sure that that does not give you stress, so much stress that you cannot enjoy your parenting journey. So as a mother, take care of your physical health, take care of your mental health, take time out to enjoy the other roles that you play in life, of a friend, of a wife, of a sister, of a daughter, of an artist, or whatever it is that you like to do along with your parenting. Because when you give up everything and just focus on being a mother and a parent, then you have very high expectations from yourself and from your child. And oftentimes the children then bear the burden of having to live up to all the sacrifices that this mother has done to bring up the child, and it is really not fair to the child. Remember, happy mothers also can raise happy children. So please focus on your own mental health. Another point I would also like to tell mothers is that your own childhood will have a huge impact on your parenting style, and also your husband's childhood will have an impact on his parenting style, and invariably they may not be the same. So Oftentimes we have seen that couples have more clashes within each other because of their diverse parenting styles. We need to understand this, accept this, and find a midpoint, because remember, your spouse is also looking at parenting from his or her own childhood experiences, and no two children and childhood experiences can be the same. So do not make it as a point of conflict, but try to see how you can combine both your styles to give the best to your child. Last but not the least, I would also like to say that do not take parenting so seriously. Chill, relax, have fun. Sometimes it is okay to let go. Do not focus on making or correcting your child in all the 10 things that you want the child to be corrected upon. Focus on the 2 things that are most important and learn to give up on the other 8. Because only when you are focusing on the few things that you want to emphasize on, your child is going to listen to you, your child is going to take you seriously. But if you are going to try to fix all the 10 things, then your child is not going to be able to cope up with any, and your child is going to not be able to do any of those. So I would say that learn a little bit of letting go as well. Remember that how you parent a 3-year-old will be very different from how you parent a 13-year-old and how you parent a 30-year-old, because we continue to be parents till we die. Our role as parents is never going to end. So try to enjoy the journey as much as you can. Take care of yourself. Do not treat your parenting as a pet project or a full-time career. Be kind to yourself. Learn some positive parenting tools that will help you to discipline your children without abuse and violence. Let me tell you, it is definitely possible. Focus on connecting more and more with your children rather than correcting, because there is no end to correcting. And remember, children go through phases and they pass. It passes on. I mean, a child doesn't continue to do the same things year after year. So if your child is a fussy eater in the initial years, let me tell you, over a period of time, it will change. No child remains exactly the same throughout his or her lifetime. So these could be passing phases that you need to sometimes just patiently allow the child to cover and to pass on and move on. So do not believe that everything is forever, okay? This too shall pass is the mantra that you might want to give to yourself. I would also like to say that there are many tools available for parenting. There are workshops, there are books. Use that, but remember that every child is unique. Every family is unique. So parenting cannot be learned from books. You can only have guidelines. You can only keep a few things in mind and modify them according to your family environment, your family structure, and your child. If you have 2 children, then one style may not be applicable to both. You may have to change your parenting style with both the children differently. So remember that parenting also is not something that you should follow books and blindly implement. It has to depend on your child. It will depend on what you feel internally is right and working and not working for you. Also, your own childhood traumas and experiences may come in your parenting style. Be watchful, be mindful. If you have grown up with an abusive parent, then some of those patterns might unconsciously be carried forward in your own parenting style. So being mindful about your unconscious behaviors and triggers is also a very important thing I would like to tell moms over here. Another thing I would like to tell moms is that remember, guilt does not heal or transform anybody. So if you have made mistakes in parenting, you have hit your child, criticized your child, done things you don't want to do, later on crying about it and feeling guilty does not help the child heal and does not even help you to change your behavior. So remember, guilt does not help. So feeling guilty is not the solution, but doing something about it. What do you wish to change about that behavior and how will you change it is what you need to focus on. Also, projecting your own fears on your child is not a good idea, because many times if we have had a bad experience with something, we are extremely protective about our child in that area, or we may also start passing on that fear to our child. If I have been bitten by a dog, I would unconsciously ask my child to be very, very careful around dogs. Remember, your children may have very different experiences and they do not have to carry your fears. They may not have any of those fears or any of those experiences consequences at all. So be very mindful. It is good to have a healthy warning given to your children, but do not project your fears or anxieties on your child by constantly talking to them about it. And last but not the least, do not use your children as mediators or negotiators in your marital problem. So if you have a problem with your spouse, do not use your child as a pawn or as a negotiator between you and your husband. It comes under emotional abuse, and it is definitely not healthy for your child. If you have marital problems, please seek professional help or take help from adults, but do not turn to your children. Many moms also make the mistake of starting to treat their children like their friends. Remember, it sounds cool to say that my child is my friend, but I would like to say that children have the friends, they also need parents. So in the whole fashion or fad of trying to be a friend of your child, do not start confiding and sharing all your adult problems with your child, because it is not healthy for the child. Sometimes children are not mature or emotionally strong enough to even listen to or understand to your adult problems. So it is great to be a friendly mom. It is great to have a lot of fun moments with your child, but it is definitely not good to be a friend to your child and not a parent. Children need parents as much as they need friends. For children, parents means security, safety, adulthood, comfort, and it is important that we provide them that, and we continue to be their parents and not step into the shoes of trying to be their friends. Remember that there is nothing like the perfect mom or the best mom or the better mom. Okay, so do not compare yourself with all your bus stop mothers out there or with your friends. Try to establish a connection with your child, because connection is what will go in the long run, which will stay with you and your child, and not those little corrections that you are doing 24/7. So focus on connection versus correction. Focus on engaging the child versus enraging and triggering the child, and work a lot on yourself. Take out time for yourself. Do self-care, and if you still have any questions, please do write to me in the comments, and I would love to answer them.